today's meeting of the WRA to order at 10:51. Mr. Buckland, could we get a roll call, please?
We have Town Administrator Derek Sullivan, Chairman of the Board, the Select Board, Judy Whiteside, Chairman of the WRA, Dan Butler, and Ken Buckland, Clerk.
Okay.
We have a quorum.
And Ron Bessie's absent. Okay. Ken, thank you. Resident comments, I don't see any residents, so there's nothing to report there. The one item that I wanted to go over on the authority business before we go into executive session was discussion and possible vote regarding whether to support a local automobile club summer car show in Wareham Village and allocate up to $1,500 to help with marketing, promotion, and other planning expenses.
We
The
approved
rush-
500 last week.
Last week, we approved $500. A couple of days ago, I had a meeting with Alan Slavin and Mr. Paul Gerard of the Rusty Nuts Car Club of Wareham.
Wait,
And-
say that out loud.
And they educated me on car shows. I'm not an expert on these things. I've been to one in my lifetime. But as they briefed us a year ago when they were contemplating this, there are some upfront expenses, things like car placards that are apparently part of the car club culture, that when you bring your car and show it, you get a classic car show placard to collect the first 100 cars. Brochures, which are handed out, flyers handed out at all kinds of car shows prior to the one that we would have to be printed. The car club sells space on these flyers to help underwrite the expenses. And they raise money for a nonprofit. So they do this in partnership with a worthy charity. We kicked that around at the meeting that I had with them a couple of days ago. And they're looking at various groups, Damien's Pantry, Turning Point, possibly a veterans organization, the YMCA, a bunch of different worthy organizations that benefit the town of Wareham were kicked around, but no decisions were made by the car club. But they did tell me that the $500 that we had allocated at last week's meeting was nowhere near enough to really get this off the ground. So they gave me a more realistic estimate of $1,500. Since car shows and similar events in Wareham Village would be consistent with what we've put in our draft urban renewal plan. Our desire is to revitalize Wareham Village, bring more foot traffic to the village, expose more people to the beautiful downtown and the waterfront that we have in Wareham Village. I feel that this is a reasonable and appropriate expense for the Redevelopment Authority. And so I would point out that the $500 will not produce a car show, but according to the Rusty Nuts Car Club, $1,500 might. And so I would like to open the floor to discussion or entertain any motions that might be relevant.
I just have one question. Did he have any idea where it might be able to be held? Because that was one of the things that we talked about, that
Right,
we weren't sure where there was enough space.
right. I checked with Don Huggins of the Bentley Group to
Okay.
find out if the TNF parking lot would be free this summer. Apparently it will be. The Aspen Blue group that is currently renting the steel building will not be up and running. They will not be operating out of that building really to
Okay.
any degree this summer. And so I presented that to the Rusty Nuts Car Club, and they decided that they did not want to do it there. They would much rather do it at on Merchants Way. And they think they'll get enough cars that they should be able to do it on Merchants Way and Main Street. And they'd like to do an Oyster Festival-like shutdown of Main Street and turn it into a significant event.
So this is pretty massive and needs to go before the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, and Alan needs to file a disclosure with the clerk's office on this.
Right.
He's representing the motor club, then just jumping in on that one.
Yep. I'll write that down.
That's where this is heading as far as
Yeah.
Yeah.
minimizing
that's
things
fine,
and
yeah.
keeping the proponent out of trouble.
So, yeah,
And they have a tentative date. The tentative date would be, let me see, hang on. Saturday, 22 June, with the rain date being Sunday, 23 June. Does that answer your question, Ms. Whiteside?
yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Oh, I apologize.
That's okay.
No, I'm just,
It's still early.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, are we shutting down downtown for this? Is that what
That's what they proposed. They said that if they put on this car show
in the middle of June?
the end of June, they would like to shut down Main Street, Oyster Festival-like,
Well,
and open it up to cars,
So I
food
think that
trucks, et cetera.
this needs to be referred to the Board of Selectmen and all the others before, because we don't know if this is going to happen.
You would make the vote contingent on approvals.
yeah, I think we do that because,
And I think
We
you
may
would go
not,
back
yeah.
and, amend your vote from last week to cover that too, for that previously committed 500.
Yeah, the Oyster Festival, one of the things we always say yes to is because we haven't, that's just becoming our uptick in population right around, you start seeing it kind of in April, more in May, but the real thing is towards June and into July. And that's, I mean, you're talking massive amounts of traffic at that point.
Right.
Yeah, it's when the kids get out of school.
We need to figure out how we talk to it should be a benefit to a lot of the sort of the
Merchants.
restaurants,
Yeah,
but the non-restaurants, I could see that being an issue.
well,
Yeah, agree.
How many times a year is onset shut down? Just not that I'm part of the discussion, but I mean, I'm just curious.
Good
ne-
question.
never,
No, it used to be the fireworks
right.
and then the Cape Verdean Festival for down there, so,
But they have several ways around
right.
blocking off one road, and we have one way,
So
essentially.
we have to coordinate with the police, cause blocking that, with the hospital, with everything. No, we know the Oyster Festival doesn't block all the way down, but it does reroute traffic around, so this is.
why couldn't they use Merchants Way alone?
They could. That's another option, scale it back to just Merchants Way.
I mean,
There'd be
when
fewer
I
cars.
had the conversation with him after the meeting,
Mhm.
I said, is TNF big enough? No, he told me.
Mhm.
So,
They did one there before.
but they did one there before, but he's thinking of a bigger, I don't know how many cars they had there before, do you remember?
They're close to, they must have had somewhere between 50 and 100, I think.
So he's looking for 150
Just based
to
on the
200.
pictures I saw of it.
For a bigger, but
Yeah, he's
that's,
looking for a bigger event, so I think,
Could Merchants Way handle that?
I think the event you wanna compare it to is the Harvest Moon car. And maybe not this last one where the weather and got pushed back, but the previous one, and that's the numbers you'd be looking at.
5,000-10,000.
Yeah, so it's, when they did the car show there during the
At
day
Lowe's?
for it. So they did it all across, they shut down onset for it. I think that's what they're trying to do.
yeah, I think that's what they're trying to
For
do too.
Wareham. But this is a lot more logistics
Yeah.
and they need to start.
Because of the hospital,
Yeah, we talked about
and
the hospital.
incoming from Sandwich Road. I mean, I don't know what percentages, but I'm guessing 50%
If
of
you
the
shut down
traffic.
Merchants Way,
That's
then they're
okay.
gonna need, yeah, but then where do people park? You're gonna have to consider parking, you're gonna have to open up Tremont Nail for that, you're gonna have to open up a lot
Yeah,
of
so
stuff here for
so
that.
you put the parking down at TNF
And shuttle people.
and shut off Merchants.
But yeah, but that's, Tremont Nail, you can fit maybe what, about 60 or 70 cars down there?
Let me put it-
When they did it lined it for the Cranberry Festival, last time I remember speaking to Mike Hogan, I think we lined out about 103 cars.
It was
103?
like 100, yeah.
That ain't gonna do it. I mean,
Dan,
Okay,
when did you say the 22nd or 23rd?
Mhm,
Yes.
Where do people park for the Oyster Festival?
all over.
Yeah, there's all the, on High Street, over the town hall, Tremont Nail, along the streets coming down beforehand on the side streets.
I parked at the CVS parking lot.
Ken illegally parked in the CVS parking lot.
Yes.
There's some over here at the, by the parking by Spillane Field on the other side.
Yeah, it's probably the churches, yeah.
Well,
I almost feel like it doesn't matter. Like, I would just take Main Street.
You would take?
I would take Main Street and just reroute it around. It's gonna be a mess no matter what you
Who's
do.
this guy?
But they got to hire
told
a
me
gazillion
to.
cops, that's the only thing for them. If they
I
think they're gonna
know.
do it on a $1,500 budget, that ain't happening.
No.
This is a $5,000 budget minimum to put on something like this.
You're going to be, with the amount of police, I think I'll just double check, it's at least $2,000.
right, but they sell advertising with
But the,
this sexy picture.
right, so that's the
Is that you on the
$1,500,
hood of that car?
$1,500 for us, the, from the WRA, and the advertising, maybe you get a couple hundred extra dollars, it's supposed to be going to scholarships.
What is?
What did they say from the revenues, the proceeds from this go to?
For this one?
For the last one?
No, for Dan, when you spoke to them, they said they give out scholarships or they give money back
No,
to
they
communities?
partner
or-
with a nonprofit,
Yeah.
a charity,
Yeah,
and they raise money for that charity with the car show. That's the rationale,
Right.
their rationale for having the show and
So
putting it on
that's what I'm
that
trying
way.
to say, anything they're doing, those costs are just, the partnership, say, hey, Damien, so we're gonna be doing it for you, you get the proceeds from it, right?
Mhm.
So shutting down everything is gonna take a dramatically take away from what they're giving out, because now your costs skyrocket.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah, they're also, they would also contemplate hiring a band or various musical groups to provide music during the show.
I'm not against it, it's just like, usually this stuff you're planning a year in advance, and
well,
Yeah.
he's been telling us that in order to do it, give him huge lead time.
And they may punt on the date in June and decide.
He'd be
that that's
better,
not
he'd be
enough.
better off in August. He needs the prep time for this. This isn't, these things aren't any joke. You don't just snap your fingers and have things happen.
well, there's a difference. If you were not closing down Main Street, if we're using Merchants Way, there's still an impact to the businesses. You're hoping a positive impact. Some of the businesses are not open on the weekends, so that's not,
Mhm.
that's not bad. I'm just a little worried about it, so.
Yeah.
And not that they do these, they know what they're doing, they're not, I
Mhm.
just don't, I haven't heard the plan outside of
Mhm.
just sort of.
Right. I guess we could up the amount from WRA to the 1,500 pending,
We don't know the cost, we don't know anything. I've not tried,
well, but that's what he asked for.
In the chicken and egg scenario that we're in, they would like to move ahead with planning, but they'd like to know if they have some seed money.
Yes, the
let's
1,500.
do the 1,500.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we do the 1,500,
But then, if that's what they need to start planning, let's do it,
Yeah.
and then.
and then we
Or
get,
continue.
they have to
Yeah.
do all of this stuff that I've been writing down,
Yeah.
the disclosures, all of the planning. But that's what, that he said, that he, being Alan,
Mhm.
and Paul said that they would give us the go-ahead, we'll do it. I like
They
that.
wanna make it happen, so.
Yeah, yeah.
let's
It's down
let
the
it
pier
go.
before, didn't they?
That was the Harvest Moon Festival is the one I'm talking about that they did, yeah.
How many cars they got?
I don't know,
You stayed away.
I was not there for
I
it.
seem to recall them saying they made $5,000 or $6,000 for the
$1,000,
charity. and
yeah.
I forget what the charity was, but
Yeah,
I texted him, he may respond in the next,
okay.
you did not text them, you did not do any of that.
no, I didn't do any of that.
Now, I think,
I texted him to see if he arrived safely, because that must have been a bear of a plane ride.
That's very kind of you.
this has been a
I'm not
good,
engaged in any further kindnesses.
Well, okay, so can I make a motion to increase the amount that we authorized last week from 500 to 1,500 pending,
Receipt of proper permits.
yeah, pending
If
more
it happens, we'll give
definitive,
the money, if
Yeah.
it doesn't happen, we won't.
yeah, more definitive plans, blah, blah, yeah.
contingent on more
Yeah.
more definitive plans, okay? Judith has made a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Buckland seconds, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote, all in favor, say aye.
No.
Aye,
Aye.
okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't count him.
It's unanimous,
God, no.
all right,
I submit a bill if I vote.
thank you.
On,
I got smart when I left. Do that next?
Yeah.
Do we, I haven't seen them.
Oh, I
Did you
sent
do
them to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see them.
I sent them to you.
We'll have to defer.
Okay.
The next item was approved prior meeting minutes for February 22nd. Ms. Whiteside was kind enough to prepare those. Unfortunately, I haven't seen them yet and haven't had a chance to get them out to everybody, so we'll defer that to our next meeting. And final item is that we would like to go into executive session under Mass General Law 30A, Section 21, Reason 2, to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations, re Kenneth Buckland.
I move that we go into that session as read out loud.
Okay. Judith Whiteside has moved that we go into executive session.
Second.
Mr. Sullivan has seconded. Any discussion? I'll just mention that I invited Mr. Titlebaum to join us to help us with this executive session and to review the agreement and provide appropriate counsel and advice. All in favor of going into executive
Yeah, do a
session?
roll call.
Yeah,
Roll call vote.
roll call on that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
'cause it's on.
I'd like to call for a roll call vote.
It's executive session, you got it.
Mr. Sullivan?
Aye.
Ms. Whiteside?
Aye.
Aye. And Mr. Buckland?
Abstain.
Abstain. 301. We are,
Now, the chair
Now
must
in
declare,
executive
no,
session.
no.
No?
The chair must declare the necessity. So say that. The chair declares the necessity
the chair declares the necessity
of
for
doing.
executive
Yep,
session.
Yep, okay.
And we are entering executive session at 11:09.
So now,
And say that you're going to adjourn.
and you're going to adjourn after the executives, from the executive session. You are not coming back into open session.
We are not coming back into open session?
No.
Well,
Well,
what's your agenda item look like?
We have,
that's it.
we have one item.
Yeah, they don't have it to.
We don't have it.
No, so it's not up for a vote,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's not a vote.
I was just making sure.
So it is,
So I will come back into session for a brief moment.
no.
No?
No, you will adjourn from the executive session.
Okay. All right.
So,
I will adjourn from executive session
yeah.
upon
So,
completion of the executive session.
so now the room will be cleared of everyone except those who are required for the session.
And I ask that the room be cleared of everybody except for those required for executive session.
She could
We'll
probably. stay,
call you
right?
back.
Non-specific.
No, you have to undo the prior vote before you can take a new vote.
I just did by doing that. What is the motion supposed to be,
The
Peter?
motion is to rescind the two prior votes, or the prior vote or the prior motion.
Okay.
So you gotta rescind the prior one, so now you're starting from a fresh slate, and you can make your motion.
I move to rescind the prior two votes regarding executive session.
Okay, prior votes.
Which you know is what Derek's trying to avoid.
I knew there was a reason we invited you.
I'm lost in the sauce.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
You work in paradise, Derek. Just tell yourself that every
Sullivan
day.
is seconded. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Ms. Whiteside?
Yes.
Yes. Do I have an abstention from you, Mr.?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, 301.
All
We
right.
rescinded that, we're still in session.
Yes,
of
are you
regular
back
meeting.
on? Okay. All right.
Now you can
Do
make your
your
motion
Just
to,
do a quick explanation
Yes. Okay.
since we're on.
The reason that we have rescinded the prior vote and gone back into open session is that we have a bit of business that Mr. Butler will be conducting that pertains to Mr. Buckland. And we
following the executive session.
follow it, and it is easier to do it now and then go into the executive session because some staff members are here who might like to hear what Mr. Butler is proposing to do.
He's not doing business, he's taking the liberties as the chairperson to do something he wishes to do.
Correct. Yes,
What liberties? No, I'm fine.
Shall I move right into that?
just do it.
Okay. John, thanks again. Sonia, thank you for joining us.
She's crying already.
This is bittersweet. This is not something I would have wanted to do ordinarily, except that I have no choice because Mr. Buckland has announced that he's retiring from service with the town of Wareham. And it does please me, however, to read an official proclamation from the Wareham Redevelopment Authority. Mr. Buckland, the Wareham Redevelopment Authority official proclamation upon retirement from public service with the town of Wareham, Kenneth Buckland. Whereas Kenneth Buckland has served the residents of Wareham since 2016 as Director of Planning and Economic and Community Development with integrity and consummate professionalism, skill, diligence, and devotion to duty. And whereas Kenneth Buckland's business acumen, strategic vision, prudence, and persistence have resulted in numerous and significant improvements to Wareham's waterfront, infrastructure, zoning, commerce, economic vitality, affordable housing for families and seniors, parks, playgrounds, trails, pickleball courts, beauty and livability. And whereas Kenneth Buckland's encyclopedic knowledge and near photographic memory of state law, regulations, precedents, persons of influence, maps, charts, bylaws, and Wareham's diverse neighborhoods, roads, bridges, and sub-shops is without parallel. And whereas Kenneth Buckland has exhibited impeccable taste in cookies, muffins, cornbread, candy, donuts, and any and all sundry items high in calories or caffeine, legally obtainable within Wareham's borders. And whereas Kenneth Buckland has devised and implemented a complex system of piles of files of every kind and subject on his desk that no one else can decipher, making him indispensable. And whereas his decency, dignity, uncommon courtesy, honor, humor, and humility have endeared him to colleagues and residents throughout the great town of Wareham and beyond. And whereas Kenneth Buckland has had an important, enduring, highly commendable impact on Wareham, and his imprint on our great town will be felt for generations to come, it is proclaimed, therefore, herein, on this 29th day of February 2024, that Kenneth Buckland's esteemed presence in the halls of town government is warmly admired and appreciated, and he will be greatly missed upon his hard-earned and well-deserved retirement from his noble and honorable public service to Wareham. So signed by my hand as chair on this 29th day of February 2024, on behalf of Wareham's Redevelopment Authority and the citizens we serve. Ken, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You earned it.
This
You earned it the hard
is a
way.
great honor. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate the time I've spent with you, working with you all as well, too. This is-
Good job.
Thank you.
Now get out of here so we can get you,
Ken, thanks for all you've done.
I'll let you walk this way and then I'll shake your hand a lot.
Wait, I have a present
you want
for
to be
you.
doing racquetball in this room.
And Ken, since you're old enough now,
Oh, my God.
you need a good pickleball paddle out on the pickleball courts.
Way to go. Thank you very much. I'll use this on that pickleball court that I supposedly helped establish.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Sonia, thank you.
Thanks.
That's all I got. Yeah.
Okay, now,
Oh, we probably need a copy of that later for Ken, too.
Yep.
questions, I never did copy it.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
I should ask for a higher hourly rate to get sent out my contract.
Tim, we need you to loiter in case we have any questions.
I move that we go into executive session for reason number 2 under Mass General Law, 30A, Section 21, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations regarding Kenneth Buckland.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. No,
Oh,
roll call.
vote. Mr. Sullivan,
Aye.
Ms. Whiteside,
Aye.
and I vote aye. 3-0-0.
Now you must declare the necessity.
I declare the necessity to go into executive session, and we are entering executive session at 11:20.
And you will be adjourning from the executive session. We will not be coming back into open session.
And we will be adjourning from executive session, and we will not be coming back into open session.